What do Coming to America, BLACULA, Waiting to Exhale, and Boys in the Hood have in common besides a whole lot of melanin? Believe it or not, these movies feature Black love in all of its forms. Today's baggage, Black love in film. Depictions of Black love in films like If Beale Street Could Talk have taken our breath away. Aside from the brilliant acting and cinematography, part of the reason why we stand for Beale Street is because we rarely ever get to see Black love on the big screen. Black love in films has had its moments, but here's the thing, a moment ain't cutting it. For the sake of this piece, when I talk about Black love, I'm referring to two Black people falling in love. Aww. Now that we've got that all taken care of, let's take it back to the start of Black love in film. We got our first representation of Black love on screen back in 1898.
So this was a time in American film history that was really hostile to the representation of African Americans.
Allison Nadia Field is an associate professor of cinema and media studies at the University of Chicago. She, along with archivist Dino Everett, are responsible for finding the silent film called Something Good, Negro Kiss. The silent film is just over 20 seconds long and features vaudeville actors Saint Subtle and Gertie Brown playfully flirting with each other. But when Twitter user Kyle A.B. put the scene to music from Barry Jenkins' If Beale Street Could Talk, Something Good took on a new life, and Black Twitter went wild.
So in Something Good, Negro Kiss, what makes it distinct from anything that was filmed at the time was we see this expression of joy and affection and intimacy between two African Americans, not white actors in blackface, not Black actors in blackface, and not caricatured type representation. They're having fun. It's almost as if we're privy to the humor between them, but without the sense that it's being manufactured for us.
Field says that during that silent film era, films with Black people were full of racist tropes. And y'all know what I'm talking about. Watermelon eating contests, Black folks shucking and jiving, and this is if there were any Black people on screen at all. Why is this film so impactful?
You have a series of films being shown in a vaudeville house that show these different kinds of stereotypes and all this racist stuff, and then you get this. One commenter said something like, "We could have had this all along, and yet we get stuck with Birth of a Nation."
I may have shed a tear or two watching the film and wanted to see more. How else has Black love been depicted in the mainstream throughout the years? I reached out to Professor Raquel Gates for some more insight on Black love in film. Her work focuses on African American media, specifically race in popular film and television, so she's pretty much got this Black film thing on lock. What is Black love?
To me, Black love are those sort of moments that break through, that sort of resonate with us emotionally, whether it's romantic love or paternal love or even sort of an intense friendship type of love that we get in film. Throughout the history of cinema, most of the time Black characters were cast in supporting roles or as comic relief. So you don't get a ton of examples, especially in early cinema, of romantic interest or romantic love in film. But I would say starting around, especially the 1970s and definitely the 1990s, when you get greater production of Black cast films, then we sort of see an explosion of romances and romantic comedies.
From the blaxploitation era to an era that some would call a heyday of Black rom-coms, Gates says Black love on film is bigger than just hugs and kisses.
If you think about something like BOYZ in the Hood, the scene when Ricky gets shot and Trey and Doughboy are cradling his limp, bloody body is, I mean, it's a type of love that's sort of like a throwback almost to classic Greek literature. That sort of intense friendship that you get between male characters.
Love between friends, love between sisters, love between mother and child. There are so many iconic moments in cinema that show the fullness of Black love. But since we're focusing on people falling in love, let's turn the focus back to romance. Tell us about some of the iconic Black love moments in film.
One of the first things that comes to my mind is Vincent Minnelli's Cabin in the Sky. And one of the reasons that stands out to me is that the relationship between Ethel Waters and Eddie Anderson as a married couple, it's so incredibly sweet and lovely. Well, he's a cad and he's cheating on her and he has a gambling problem. But there's a real sort of affection that comes through on screen, especially in the musical numbers. It's sort of a great example, I think, of some of the possibilities of Black love on screen. So if Cabin in the Sky is sweet, then we get Carmen Jones, which is hot. There's so much chemistry between the two actors.
Blow on them, sugar. Make them dry faster.
He goes to kiss her leg.
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, the rest of the film is a little problematic. He strangles her in the end, but you know, up until then, it's great.
Easy, honey.
So, BLACULA, I know, is probably not what anybody is expecting when you talk about Black love. It's a blaxploitation horror film, but I think that within that genre, there's a lot of really interesting stuff happening in terms of representation. The idea of this timeless love story, this man whose wife was murdered and he was condemned to this sort of, you know, eternal damnation and comes back to find his wife across time and across continents is powerful.
And Gates says there are tons of other iconic moments of Black love in film. Like in the 1970s when Mahogany came out. Folks were blown away when they saw two Black leads looking fly AF and fall in love. Come through, Billy D. We see you. Or Coming to America from 1988. We remember Sexual Chocolate, So Glow, and The Barbershop, but it's a damn good rom-com too. And in 1997, so many folks fell in love with Love Jones. Heck, I still have the VHS and I don't even have a tape player. Y'all, the movie has love poems, jazz music, and lots of Black folks. Nia Long and Lorenz Tate meet, fall in and out of love, and even have a moment in the rain. Pre-Notebook. And years later, we got a display of romantic love between two Black men thanks to Barry Jenkins's Moonlight.
Moonlight, to me, is one of the most breathtakingly beautiful films in recent history. And for me, Moonlight all sort of comes to a climax with that amazing diner scene, which is just about this tension and this angst and this longing.
What you'll notice is that as more Black people take on more roles of power on both sides of the camera, our stories are coming to light. An array of films are being greenlit, and directors like Ava DuVernay, Ryan Coogler, and Malcolm D. Lee have so beautifully shown the many ways that we love. There's still plenty of work to do to normalize seeing Black love on the big screen. Right now, it's still pretty revolutionary.
The idea of Black people being loved and loving each other and being treated as whole and valuable human beings who are deserving of love and care and affection is sadly still a fairly novel idea to many people.
Love in its purest form makes all of our hearts smile, but there's something so special about seeing Black people, my people, being in love on the big screen. So put some respect on Black love, cause it's long overdue. We lovin' while Black. We lovin' while Black. We lovin' while Black.